Your boy is playing quarterback at a very high clip. I imagine you're very proud right now, Coach.
Well, it's been great to be able to be at the games, and yeah, he gets a lot of the credit, but I think we all know it's a total team effort. I mean, from the offensive line, receivers, coaches. I mean, it's impressive to watch as a not only as a dad but a former coach also. It's been great.
Yeah, as a former coach, when you see this offense producing like they are right now, what makes them so tough to match up with?
Well, you can probably start with just the talent. I mean, there's great receivers that all of them can present matchup problems. You got an offensive line that's really doing a good job protecting, and the running game is doing a good job. And you put all that together, and it's just a nightmare for defensive coaches and teams. Really, that anybody they play should have some issues with those matchups for sure.
Coach, so I got to ask you about last week. You mentioned getting to watch the games. You're tailgating now. You're going all over the country. What was it like not just being in Nashville, but the amount of people from Athens, Ohio, that traveled down? Look, just seems spectacular. Kind of bring us to the experience through your eyes.
Well, we drove down Friday from here, and a lot of Athens people really they were showing up on Thursday. But we had a local young lady who was a few years behind Joe, was performing at a place in Nashville. So that was the first stop for everybody from Athens. The music producer there told me that, hey, I thought somebody said there was going to be 15 in here tonight. There was about 115, and so that was the first thing. And then we had organized a big tailgate there in Nashville with TVs and couches and chairs, and people started rolling in there about 7:30 the next morning. I certainly wasn't used to tailgating at 7:30, but we were ready for them, and we like to watch Joe warm up. So my wife and I left fairly early, but the people stayed until right up to game time, and then we rolled in there again after the game till about 8 o'clock that night or 9 o'clock, and it was just family and friends from not only Athens but other parts of Ohio. People that we knew too were there, and so it was just a great experience to be a part of that.
Yeah, it's so wild, too. So many people to be at the game or around the game. And then for Joe, too, set the school record for touchdowns thrown for them coming to Jamar Chase. You talked about those receivers, Coach. When from a coach's standpoint, when you look at these guys, like put your defensive coordinator hat on, how do you game plan to stop that trio that LSU currently has?
No, I don't think you can just say, hey, we're going to play man or zone or blitz or not blitz. There's got to be a lot of different things and looks to throw at Joe on the offense, and maybe one of these days you'll start getting a few more people changing the defense when Joe looks over to the sidelines. You know, those are type things that people do tend to try to do at some point, but. Again, I don't think you can do just one thing. I mean, and it's different guys at different times in different games. I know Joe would have liked to seen. I mean, he gets again a lot of the credit, but he would have liked to seen Jamar Chase get that award. I know he said that for the SEC Player of the Week, because if anybody was deserving, him. But tough for defenses all around. You saw some pressure that they tried to do the other day, and the offense recognized it and got some big explosive plays. So, you know, when they're hitting on all cylinders like they are, it just makes it tough.
We just talked to his head coach, to the LSU head football coach, Ed Ogeron, a couple of minutes here on off the bench. He was with us in the 7 o'clock hour, and he was talking about the quarterback, Joe, and just this being really kind of him taking ownership of the team and becoming a leader. Has he always had the leadership quality that he's showing? Because really, to me, I mean, LSU has not seen that type of character, that type of leader. Forget how he's performing on the field. I talked about when he was barking at the offensive line a couple of weeks back versus Northwestern. LSU's not had anybody that could command that type of attention from his teammates on the sideline. Has he always had that quality in the game of football?
I think leadership can happen in a lot of different ways. I think as he was growing up, it was a little more subtle, not as vocal. I think he led a little more by example, and then as he grew older and more experienced and confident, I think that vocal part of it and the energy that he shows as a leader kind of evolved. But he's always, since he was a third grade quarterback, I mean, he's run the team and people have had confidence in him, and so it's just an evolution of his personality, I think, over the years.
Did you find out the real story what he said to the sideline?
Yes, but I'm not going to say it.
He said it's been a lot of fun competing with you today. He said, great job. That's exactly what he said.
Coach, by the way, I love that.
Let's stick with that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine for the narrative. But I love that. That stuff is not for everybody. As a coach, what do you think about that to see the quarterback just carrying himself with that confidence in between the lines?
I like the confidence. I think there's a thin line with doing that and having your teammates support you, and then you can go too far, and I don't think Joe has or will. But as I said, thin line between doing some of those things. But I think the guys do respect that he's willing to not only stand up for himself in the game, but also his teammates. So, for example, last year in that first game, I mean, he wasn't involved in that little ruckus before the game, but his teammates were, and so he was there right away to kind of say, hey, I have your back, and those guys certainly have Joe's back when he does things like that. But
yep.
I wouldn't want him to get too much farther out of hand than maybe some of the things he's done. That's for sure. As a dad and a coach,
I would say this as an O-lineman. I love that. Like if you want to talk about things that would inspire you and be like, okay, I want to fight for this guy. That's one of them. The other thing, Coach, is the ability to take a hit. And one thing that my old man always talked to me about that Burrow has in spades, and then he always talked to the separation point of quarterbacks is, can you stand there? And just because of how the play and the scheme's working out, you're going to get lit up. But can you stand there and still deliver the ball knowing you're just opening yourself up? And he had to. There were a couple times last game where he knew he was going to take a shot, and he still delivered a perfect pass. Is that taught? Is that just natural? Like, how do you learn that kind of toughness?
I think it's just a competitor in him, and the fact that he knows that everybody is going to be physical, especially in the SEC, and if you're going to be the quarterback that we talked about, that's the leader and someone that's going to play at a high level, then yeah, you got to stand there and be willing to do it. And I think some people have said, well, he plays quarterback like a linebacker, and maybe that's true, but a quarterback has to be smart, and so far he hasn't done anything to really encourage contact. But yeah, he's willing to stand there. He has confidence that he can get the ball off and that he knows where to throw it, and the people are recognizing the blitz and the pressure, and I saw him point out a blitz the other day, and he knew he was going to throw it to a quick slant, and he was going to take a hit. And I think we had about a 65-yard touchdown because they beat the safety in the slot. So it's just it's just part of the whole offense and the process that they've gotten to get the ball out quick. But yeah, you got to take a hit, that's for sure. Still,
one of my favorite plays from the season was this past Saturday when Burrow connects with, I believe, Terrace Marshall on the sideline. They rough the passer on Burrow and they PI the wide receiver against Marshall, and they get the completion. It's like, you can try to cheat and hit him after the whistle, or even push him before the ball gets there, and they're still completing the ball. Thank you, Coach. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you every Tuesday morning. We look forward to next week.
Okay, me too. Go Tigers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
There he is, Coach Jimmy Burrow, checking in every Tuesday.
What
here
What
on
a dad ending.
Yeah.
You too.
What how nice does everybody in Athens, Ohio seem? They're just, I mean, there's so many people that drove down just to support Burrow. They're supporting this girl that I guess is from Athens, trying to make it in Nashville. Like, these people seem so wholesome.
Midwest town.
I
Small
guess
Midwest
that's true.
town.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's it, right?